Welcome to Sunlight Streams, and today we're doing PM yoga, a 20-minute yoga series just for you so that you can calm down and move your body to help set you up for the best night of sleep you can get. Okay, so before you get started, today when I practice, I want to let you know I like to set the scene. So I always, even in my house when I'm just by myself, and sometimes it's in a tiny corner in my basement, I light a candle. So if you've got a candle that you love, go ahead and light it. If you've got a mug that's full of your favorite tea for nighttime, go ahead and bring that into the room too. Set the stage. I've got a couple blankets here. We're going to use a blanket today just at the very end to cover. So have a blanket set aside so that you can use that at the end to keep yourself nice and cozy as we relax. I'm going to take a sip and then we'll get started. So if you can't tell, I am also sitting on a blanket. So if you're somebody who thinks that easy cross-leg is not so easy, grab a blanket and elevate your hips so that it's easier for you to sit comfortably on the floor. Cross-legged or some variation is great. And I want you to take a moment and pause. Settle your shoulders. And soften your breath just a little bit. Set the stage for some relaxation. From here, we're going to start our movement slowly. I'll have you turn your head to the right, stretching the back of the neck. And I want you to ask yourself, what's next? What could you do to move to enhance this stretch? I'm going to suggest you take this left hand, maybe bring the fingertips or the entire palm of the hand to the floor. Maybe for me, the perfect angle is slightly behind the hips. And you breathe nice and slow, paying attention to the sensations in the body. And then come back to center with both the head and the hand. We'll do the other side. So I'm going to have you turn your chin to the left. And pause here just for a moment. See what this feels like. And then what's next? What can you do to move to enhance the stretch? My suggestion is, of course, to extend now the right arm. And again, I'm slightly behind the hips, pressing my fingers into the floor. Paying attention to how your body feels. Maybe she's tired. Maybe she's overly excited. And then release. Come back to center. Let's drop the chin towards the chest. From here, let's take the next logical step and start to round through the back, really exaggerating that movement of bringing the chin down towards the sternum or the breastbone. And then slowly come back to center, and we'll tilt the chin up towards the sky. And then maybe exaggerate that just a little bit, coming into a back bend. Your hands can stay on your lap, or they can come behind you. And then come back to center. And let's pause and shimmy the shoulders around. All right, so let's move to a twist next, and I'm actually going to take the blanket out from underneath me because it doesn't serve me here as I'm twisting. Maybe you keep yours underneath you, or maybe you take yours out. We're going to start the movement here in the hips and bring your hands to your hip bones. It's that bony part in your hips. And you're just going to start turning to the right from here. And then the left hand will slide to the outside of the right thigh. Your right hand will sort of naturally slide behind you to support the movement. We're going to turn to look over that right shoulder. Nice long breath. And then let's slowly slide to center. Maybe you take the fingers to the hips again just to remind you where we start the movement. And we're going to turn now to the left. And your right hand will slide to the outside of the left thigh. And left hand slides behind you to support the movement. And then release, come back to center. Let's walk the hands forward, just folding over the hips. It doesn't matter how far you go, just that you've stretched out the low back and the hips just a little bit. When I do this movement myself, I tend to shimmy from side to side. Maybe that's you, and maybe you just prefer to sit stationary. If you have tight hips, I don't like that phrase, but everybody knows what I mean when I say tight hips, hips that have a lot of sensation as you tilt forward. Take a moment to see what your jaw is doing. Are you grinding your teeth? Are the muscles in your jaw really tight? Can you change that? And then come up to the top. We'll switch the cross of the legs and we'll do the same thing again. Tilting forward, hands can come forward. Paying attention to the breath. And then release. Let's come back up to seated and pause for a moment while we turn the wrists just a little bit. You know, we do this in a lot of these videos. I'm a big fan of prepping your wrists. So you can make circles, you can make waves. I'm a big fan of the wave. My one hand can't do it as well as the other one can. And then we're going to move to all fours. Hands are somewhere supportive, somewhere underneath the shoulders. Knees are supportive under the hips. And we'll do a short cat and cow series before we do some low lunges. And cat and cow generally, what happens is your belly button tilts towards the ground, eyes tip up towards the sky, and then you arch your spine and tuck your chin. And you sort of undulate between those two positions, moving the vertebrae of the spine. Now that's fine, but also make sure that you get creative. Pay attention to what your body's feeling, what sensations you've got going on. Does one particular move feel better than the rest? Do you want to visit that move a few times? That's okay. Use your glutes, that's your rear end, to help be supportive here. And then we're going to shift back into child's pose. So hips are going to come towards the heels and head's going to come towards the floor. Arms can be in front of the shoulders or by your feet, whichever you prefer. All right, let's come up to the knees and do a low lunge. One of the things I hear the most from people is that their hips hurt at bedtime. They'll be laying in their bed and they'll kind of have an achy sensation in the hips. So we are going to do a little something for the hips. So come up to your knees. If you're on carpeted floor, you are probably in the most ideal place. If you're like me and you're on solid floor, make sure that you've got something underneath your knees to help with sensation, and you can even roll your mat up a little bit more so you have extra padding if you need it. Now, Once you're here, I'll have you step your right foot forward. Move backwards and step that right foot forward. Hands are going to clasp together. They're going to come to the top of the right thigh, and then we're going to just gently shift the weight forward. Nice long breath here. I want you to engage these abdominal muscles, meaning flex them. Soften the shoulders and the jaw. And then release, come up to the top. We'll bring that right knee back underneath you and take the left foot forward. Hands clasped together. Let's come into that low lunge. Does not matter how far you come. I would prefer, since I can't see you and you're not in a room with me, that you keep your weight upright instead of folding forward. I think this keeps the integrity of the pose more easily. So let's keep the torso upright. Inhaling. Let's come back up to the top. And let's come onto our bellies to rest. Once you're on your belly, fold the forearms, rest your head on your forearms. And then we'll start with low crocodile here. So inhaling, press the forearms down, lift the head and chest up. Shoulders are as soft as you can make them. And then release, come down. And let's come up to the forearms. This is really why we're here. I want to sort of shift the upper chest and the shoulders around. Also, that can help keep things more comfortable before you go to sleep. Palms are wide, fingers are wide. Let's press the forearms down. Bring the breastbone forward. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. This is Sphinx pose here. Engage the thighs and breathe. Let's take a twist. So I'm going to have you press your right hand down into the floor, straighten your right arm. Take a peek over that right shoulder. Slowly slide yourself down, and we'll go the other way. Straightening the left arm, taking a peek over the left shoulder. And then release, come back down, slide your elbows out from underneath you, turn your head, and rest. All right, our big move for the day. Let's come back up to all fours. We're gonna hang out in down dog for a few breaths. So from here, tuck your toes under, lift those hips up, and take your tailbone backwards towards the wall behind you. You can alternate straightening your legs. You can shift all your weight backwards. All right, slowly, let's release, come down, and our final rest is going to be on our backs. So grab your blanket. I'm going to grab my cozier blanket. Take that final sip of tea if you want to. And allow yourself a moment or two to just rest. I have noticed for myself in the past, say 14 months or so, I have not allowed myself to rest like I used to. So let's take a few breaths and let the body sink into the floor. Soften any of the muscles that you feel are tense or tight. In fact, let's all take a couple big exhales together. So everybody have a breath in. And then on the exhale, just let a big sigh out. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Have a nice breath in. And have a big sigh out. Last time. Inhaling. When you're ready, let's let go of that breath. There. Let's rest. Now, of course, you may stay and rest for as long as you like. Let me give you the steps to get yourself up whenever you're ready. Step 1 is to have some nice full deep breaths, letting your nervous system know things are going to change. And step 2 is to go slow, gently moving fingers and toes. Maybe having a stretch, a yawn, a sigh, a wiggle. Whenever you're ready to come to seated, you roll onto your right side. And maybe you pause and hang out there for a breath or 2. As always, I'm so grateful that you came and you watched this video today, and I hope you are happy and well. And I'll see you next time.